that is a phenomenal, story. It's a lot to dissect, right? So if we go back to the beginning, just go back. You said when you were growing up, the province that you were growing up in, that island, no TV, no
Yeah.
TV, no electricity, and then you would go to Manila, for breaks, for holiday vacation, and that's when you would get exposed to some of those other things. Wow. Tell me about, so when you were growing up, what did you focus on? Because we live in an age that is so technology centered, right?
Mhm.
So when you were a child and you were growing up with no electricity, you weren't watching any TV, what did you do to entertain yourself? Was there just a lot of reading, games, and how did that kind of spin your philosophy as far as your work ethic, you think, as you continue to develop?
Right. In my province where I came from, you have two options as a kid. Number one, you help with the farming because the industry is farming. So as a kid, you would help the parents, your parents, with their job. So it's either farming or fishing because we live in an island. So
Mm-hmm.
or the other route would be for your parent. I was raised by my aunt because my mom was working in Manila. So yeah, that the first option is for you to work during after your schoolwork and or you continue studying, and help with the household chores. So my aunt would ask me to help with the household chores and yeah, reading basically. So I love reading. Modesty aside, I was the valedictorian in my class of 12
Congratulations,
in my
right?
island. Yeah. So and yeah, my aunt was a Seventh-day Adventist, so there's a lot of Bible reading. So yeah, that's how I entertained myself. And yeah, yeah, just household chores, and I get to play child games with my neighbors from time to time. But yeah, my aunt though was very very strict. So I have to be home at a certain hour. I have to wake up certain hour. And as a
Yeah.
Seventh-day Adventist, there are things that I cannot eat. So uh, it also helped me, be the have the character that I have now as a child, as a grown man. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, just laying that foundation of kind of discipline and order, and
Mhm.
no, man, I think that's phenomenal. And then coming in, you said the astronaut was the original aspiration, which I think is
Yeah.
is phenomenal. I mean, you see nowadays, I think it's amazing. Look, you don't even have to go to school now. You can just pay Jeff Bezos and you're good to
Yes.
go.
Yes, we've come a very, very long way.
We've come a long way, right? Right. And then pilot, and then the nursing aspect, and man, I think nursing, as I mentioned, my mother was a nurse for 30 years, in Richmond, Virginia, which is where I'm from, and I tell you, man, that is it is a great profession, but that's a tough profession too. And shout out to all the nurses out there, because that is one that can be taxing. So is that you said that was like a primary career track, but the hospitals would make you pay to get your training for the experience that you would need as a nurse in order to go to the US.
Yes, during my time, yes, yes, because there are a lot of us,
Uh,
so there are a lot of us who wanted to have that experience. So yeah, we have to pay the hospitals just to, have the more training, which for me, of course, did not make sense because the training I had in my amazing nursing school was already more than enough. So it's just basically them taking advantage of it.
Wow. So the hospital, that wasn't even the nursing school training. Like, you had to go through nursing school. Then once you complete that, then you go to the hospital.
Yes.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow, man. Like I said, the just in these stories, I'm just hearing a kind of a track record of just discipline and willingness to to work hard and just, find solutions, not just for
Mhm.
yourself, but you also mentioned for your family, because, hey, you were becoming a nurse, because then you would go to the US and you would be able to support your family in that capacity. And then you shifted into the call center environment, which you also mentioned is a big industry in the Philippines as well.
Mhm.
And that's one where, you can kind of do well and start to support yourself and those, who you care about as well. Um, so you said there was an ad that you saw, and that's what made you, look at insurance. Was insurance a topic in your household growing up? Is that something that was ever discussed?
No, actually, no. As far as I know, I'm the first person to have a life insurance policy in my family. So
Wow.
I was actually the person to introduce life insurance in the family. So, but just
Mm,
because I'm already a life insurance agent, and so
yeah.
yeah, I was my first client actually, and then yeah, I introduced it to my sister, to my brother. Yeah, my sister is a nurse in London, by the way. So again, shout out to all the nurses,
Yes.
Filipino nurses around the world, and
Yes.
I think you'll have an understanding now why most Filipino nurses are amazing because of the training that we have to go through here in the Philippines. But yeah, I think I'm the first person to have life insurance here in my family.
Wow. How does that feel for you? Like being the person to actually introduce life insurance to your family, like I mean, to just kind of establish that legacy, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
how does that feel? How does that make you feel?
Honestly, looking back, it was a lot of frustration. Really, it was very frustrating because it took a while before someone from my family to actually get a life
Mhm.
insurance for themselves.
Yes.
So, because number one, they would it would be an accommodation sale, if you know what I mean. Because I would the mindset is that they would only get a life insurance policy because I'm the agent, and on top of that idea, they don't know if I'm actually serious with becoming a life insurance agent, because I'm a nurse, and then I was a call center agent, and then now sales life insurance. So it doesn't add up. So it took a while, maybe it's just actually just now 7 years in the industry that my family members would actually approach me and ask me about how they would want to how they could start getting life insurance, because I'm already 3-year MDRT member, and
Yes.
I'm already 7 years in, so maybe they're seeing that I'm serious with this job. But when I started, most of my clients are actually from people that I don't know personally. So
Mm.
and that's the same with my friends actually. So it took me 5 years to convince one of my high school friends to get a life insurance from me. So that's how, yeah, it's frustrating it was in the
No, no.
beginning.
Hey, look, man, I'm glad you're saying that. I mean, it's look, that answer is very honest. I know in my own experience, starting my career, it was kind of the same way. Friends and family, they were the last people to kind of believe, so to
Yeah,
speak, in what you're doing, because they've seen you do other things. They see you a certain kind of
right,
way. And what's that saying? You can't be a prophet in your own land.
right,
So
right,
you know, when this information comes, it's like, well, I don't know if I receive it from you. But then when you start to have success and you've been validated, in the industry, then it's like, oh yeah, hey, can we talk about that? Right. So is
right.
that sounds like that's kind of been your experience, as well. Tell me, tell me about tell me about your first year, being licensed there. You spoke about some of those frustrations. I would love to hear, that journey. So and take me from, so you saw the ad, you answered the ad, you had the conversation, and it goes
Mhm.
like what?
Right. So here in the Philippines, the route for most life insurance agent is pretty much the same. You start as a part-time life insurance agent because, as I said a while ago, I only wanted an extra source of income. And it so happened that it was a friend saw my post on Facebook, and that I was looking for an extra source of income, and then
Mm.
he offered this to me. And so I started as a part-time life insurance agent. So I was working still as a call center agent, and then doing life insurance agent on the side, so and that's probably one of the reasons why it took a while for my family and friends to take me seriously,
Right.
because yeah, I'm just doing this on the side. They probably were thinking, maybe he'll stop becoming a life insurance agent after 6 months or after a year, but yeah, but here in the Philippines we would um, undergo the training under the company that you would like to become a life insurance agent on, because you can only be affiliated in one life insurance company.
Mm.
So you'll train under them. So in my case, it was Pro Life UK. And then after the training, I would take the licensure exam. Here in the Philippines, it's regulated by a government agency called Insurance Commission. So we actually take a licensure exam with them. And then, yeah, after that, when you pass the licensure exam, then, you get more training with your company. So yeah, it's a continuous training until now. Actually, I'm still training because every so often we would have new products, we have new funds to offer, we have so we are continuously evolving. And then especially now, that everything can be done remotely via face-to-face video conferencing, video calls. So there are a lot of adjustments. But yeah, but when I started, we actually have to meet our clients face to face. So when I started, I would work as a call center agent from, I don't know, I was night shift when I started, from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. maybe. So I would do my life insurance job before the shift and after the shift. So before I come into work as a customer service representative, I would meet clients, or after I would meet clients, and then of course during the weekends. So that's how I would do it. So it in the beginning it was a lot of sleepless days, because yeah. And considering the traffic that we have to go through here in Manila, just to meet clients, it was a lot of sleepless days, because not nights, because I really don't sleep at night because I'm at
Right. You're
work.
working at night. Right?
Yeah, I had to serve you guys. I worked for Cricket, I worked for Bank of America, I worked for
Right.
Dell. Yeah, so maybe you might have called me at one point.
This is true. I could have, I think look, that brings up another, just very, very interesting point, how big that industry is, in the Philippines. And, the fact that, there's, man, industry and communication is a global, exchange,
Mm.
and yeah, I might have called over there at some point and spoken to you, and then when you finished talking to me, you went and sold a UL policy to somebody
Yes.
like right after that.